It's fine. It's fine. Making an announcement. Hello, everybody. We'd like to welcome you to our Slow Shira. We hope you've all had meaningful fasts so far. And for Slow Shira, as always, we take out your green sheets that were in the package.
Start with song number 36. Song number 3. 67.
Shema
Song number 73. Song number 88. Song number 20. Song number 18. Song number 10. Song number 64.
Shira
Song number 72. Song number 17.
My name is Rabban Gamliel, and I'm here today being appointed as the first Nasi of the Sanhedrin in Yavne. 10 years ago, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. And when we were there, none of us had a clue what was going to happen next. Would Judaism be able to continue? Would we be able to connect to each other, connect to our fellow Jews, connect to Hashem? And we just didn't know the answer. On the 17th of Tammuz, when the walls of Yerushalayim were breached, we had no idea what was going to happen next. But here today in Yavne, being appointed as the Nasi of the Sanhedrin, I'm able to confidently say that we succeeded. We saved Judaism. We brought back, we enacted takanot. Judaism is now strong. People are coming back. We have a very strong Jewish community. And I'm here today to tell you the story of how we got there, how we saved Judaism, how we rebuilt after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. And that is the story of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. 10 years ago, the Roman armies were outside of Yerushalayim. They were there, and they were besieging the city, surrounding it. The people in the city weren't that worried. They had already recently, a few years ago, defeated 2 Roman armies. The first one was a conquest. They ambushed the Roman army, defeated it, sent them right back. The second time was the governor of Syria came to put down the Jewish rebellion, and once again, we were able to defeat them and send them back to Rome. So the people living in Yerushalayim, they were nervous maybe as they saw the army coming, but they had confidence. They had defeated Roman armies before and thought they might be able to do it again. But as the Roman army got closer and closer to Yerushalayim and started surrounding it, it was clear that this army was different from the armies they faced before. First of all, it was led by a man named Vespasian. He was a hero in the Roman armies. He had recently conquered many of the British tribes. He has won many battles throughout his time as a Roman general. It wasn't a small army either. Vespasian was leading 4 Roman legions, each consisting of 5,000 men. They were well-trained, well-armed, and as they got closer and closer to Jerusalem, they were defeating every Jewish army that went out against them. And when they got to the walls, people started getting nervous. Is this going to be the army that got through? Or are we finally going to fall? But the problems then just began to get worse and worse. As the Roman army traveled up through the Galilee, heading towards Yerushalayim, thousands and thousands of Jewish refugees were kicked out of their homes. They fled to Yerushalayim and came to the city. So at the beginning, everybody thought that was a good thing. More fighters maybe, more Jews in one area. But as time went on, it was clear that these people coming into the city were very different from those in the city already. The people in the city were happy with the Roman rule. They were willing to make peace. They weren't set on fighting the Romans, but these people who had fled the Roman assault, they were convinced that their only option was to fight the Roman army. They were convinced that they had to fight with anything they had, and they were convinced that the only solution was to fight. So the tension in the city between 2 different groups of Jews just continued to grow and grow. On one side, the side that was fighting for peace was led by Shimon ben Giora. The other side was led by Eliezer ben Simon. He was leading the zealots and arguing that we had to fight the Romans. So tension in the city was building. Jew was fighting Jew. Then it got worse. One night, Eliezer took a group of his people that were convinced that they had to fight the Romans, and he went and he burned all of the food in the city. The city was under siege. They had no way of getting more food. And in one night, they had food stored up. They might have been able to last a few more years, a few more months, who knows? But one night, food enough to feed thousands of people, went up in flames. Everyone in Yerushalayim was just staring at those fires, wondering what had happened. Had the Romans gotten through? What had happened? And in the morning, when it became clear that it was their own Jews who had burned those food stores, the tension in the city got worse and worse. Now, the motives for burning that food were good ones. Eliezer thought that if he made the people in the city desperate, then they would be all able and willing to go fight the Romans. But the reality was, people did get more desperate, but that desperation just turned to more fighting against each other. The situation was dire. And this was the situation, the background, for what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was facing being in Yerushalayim. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai realized that the Yerushalayim was gonna fall. There was too much fighting in the city. The Roman armies outside, led by Vespasian, were just too powerful. And he had to make the decision what to do. How could we preserve any remnant of what Yerushalayim once was? So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai began thinking, constructing a plan. How could he save anything? Is there anything to be saved? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai went to his nephew, who was a prominent person in Yerushalayim, and they began making a plan. They realized they had to negotiate with the Romans. They had to have some type of dialogue. And to do that, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai had to leave the city. At this point, Eliezer was not letting anyone out of the city. He had military control over the entire place. No Jew was allowed, lest they run to the Romans and reveal the Yerushalayim's military secrets. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai had to first figure out how to get out of the city, and him and his nephew sat down and made a plan. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai started to pretend to be sick. He lay down in his bed, moaning, aching, crying out, and people began staying away. No one wants to get close to a sick person, especially in a city full of disease because there were so many refugees there. And over time, people started spreading the news of Yochanan ben Zakkai is sick. What's going to happen to him? They then took these disgusting food objects that smelled really badly. They put them next to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai to make it smell like the house of a dead person, the house of a sick person. And then when the time came, they announced to the city, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai has passed away. But Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was still alive. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was just using this to get out of the city. His nephew took him, placed him in a coffin, and him and another one of the Jews interested in making peace picked up this coffin and marched right out of the city, outside of the gates towards the Roman army. Once out of the city, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai got out of this coffin. He headed straight to Vespasian, to the Roman armies, and he went to Vespasian and greeted Vespasian, the king of Rome. Vespasian there was the general. He wasn't the king. So Vespasian responded and asked, What do you mean? I'm not the king. You're greeting me by the wrong name. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, though, knew that Vespasian was going to be crowned king of Rome, and even as this conversation was going, a messenger came, informing Vespasian that he was, in fact, the new king of Rome. He was the Roman emperor. And Vespasian was so overjoyed, was so excited about this news, and so happy that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was the one to first deliver it, he offered Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai rewards. He said, what do you want from me? And I'll do it for you. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai turned to Vespasian and asked for three things. The first thing he asked for is for healers, to heal his friend Rabbi Tzadok. By doing so, by asking to help his sick friend, he was showing the Roman Empire, that they cared. The Jewish people, even with all this fighting, they cared about each individual in the city. They cared about one individual who was sick, and he would use one of these requests to ask for his friend's health. The second request he asked for is for the Romans, when they entered the city, to spare the dynasty of Rabban Gamliel, who's actually my grandfather. They asked for them to save this Davidic dynasty, to hope that one day we'd have the continuity, that the Jewish leadership could continue as the years went on. That was the third request that allows me to be standing here, being appointed as the Nasi of the Sanhedrin. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai turned to Vespasian and said, "Timli Yavne v'chachameha." Give me the city of Yavne and its sages. Give me the people there. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, by doing this, realized it's not the place that's important. Yes, Yerushalayim was lost. The place Yerushalayim, we'd have to leave. It's not the place that was important, but it was the people, the community that it formed. By asking this, he was telling the Roman Empire that we care, the Jewish place, the Temple Mount, the center of Jewish religion for so many years, it was going to be gone. They can no longer go to that place. It's going to be destroyed and burned into fire. However, the Jewish people, the Jewish continuity would continue because of the people, the sages at Yavne, and that is why I am here today in Yavne being appointed as the Nasi.
Song number 16. Song number 16. Song number 22. For those, the fast is still going on. Have a meaningful and easy rest of your fast. For everyone else, have a meaningful 3 weeks. It was great to have you with us.